In this video blog, we're going to go over the Jewish American racism and discrimination. To start off, we had the Sephardic Jews who came over to escape the Catholic Inquisition, and they came over because of the U.S. economic opportunities. Then came along the Marrano Jews who practiced Christianity publicly but still kept their culture and their beliefs privately. This was to help with the overall discrimination and racism associated with them. They didn't want to get outed or hurt. And then we had the Central European Jewish community that came over post-slavery around the 1880s. That was about 150,000 Jewish people ended up having persecution during World War II. Now, since the Jewish community has a matrilineal lineage, it was kind of hard to fight the sort of digging that the Nazis ended up doing. And unfortunately, I learned for the first time that the Nazi community ended up taking some of our laws and taking some of our own sort of racial discrimination and persecutions and all that stuff and kind of amped them up a little bit. I read that and I was actually floored. They took things like Jim Crow laws and ended up beefing them up when it came to tracing lineages in order to accurately depict who was Jewish and who wasn't. It just kind of like, it was really, really eye-opening just how much tension there was in America, not just overall in the world, but in America. The Jewish community faced housing discrimination. They had academic discriminations. If it wasn't harder for them to get into the universities, it was certainly very gated. Oftentimes you would actually hear a university or a college say, hey, we met our Jewish quota, get out of here, or we can't accept you, and kept the quota very, very low due to that sort of persecution. And when it came to the housing, it was, oh, your businesses are taking from the black community, so we're not going to allow you to be a part of our community. You're just going to take what's here and then give back to your own community, which in its own is what they were perceived of doing. Now, in order to answer a couple other questions, I think they effectively fought against the racism and discrimination just in their own sort of pacifistic way. I had this friend when I was younger, and his family had direct, as most do in America, unfortunately, have direct family members who were affected by the Nazi Party back in World War II. And they told me that the best way that their culture fought against these discriminations and fought against these racisms was to maintain face, continue doing what they thought was best, like fighting the segregation stuff, the fighting for the civil rights, things like that, and doing it unapologetically while also maintaining the camaraderie within their own culture. I mean, if you go into a place expecting to build a business, you have to be able to provide for your own as well as the community. And what I was reading was they were going into these African American communities, and if they weren't readily giving back to that community, they were readily giving back to their own Jewish community. When it comes to successfully integrating into the U.S. society and culture, I believe they did. They took the economic opportunities, they took these situations of which were clearly against them, and they made their own sort of mark within the country and within the world. And for that, I kind of say they've been kind of going through the ringer for a very long time, and unfortunately the United States is no different. And that concludes my video blog.